Hi, we're Team 3 from MIS 420 or IST 402 at Penn State University. Our team includes Divya P, Star G, Chris L, Tessa A, and Michael S. In the following few minutes, we will give you an overview of our business process management implementation plan for the website development firm Linnflux. We hope you enjoy our presentation. Linnflux is a web and application development firm based out of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. It is 3 employees in size, and its operations are tailored to small through medium-sized businesses as well as startups. The technological services Linnflux offers include managed cloud solutions, e-commerce integration, online advertising, marketing campaigns, graphic design, search engine optimization, and social media management. Linnflux is an official Google Cloud partner. It is highly involved in the community, volunteering and donating its time to nonprofits such as Bethesda Mission, Sanctuary Harrisburg, Harrisburg YMCA, Lycoming Habitat for Humanity, American Literacy Corporation, and 500 Men Reading. Here is a picture of Linnflux's homepage, which can be viewed at https://linnflux.com. It complies completely with the American Disability Act standard and features a proper SSL or Secure Socket Layer certificate issued through Cloudflare Incorporated. As-is process analysis is a process management strategy that identifies and evaluates a business's current processes. Next, we will demonstrate this model for Linnflux. The as-is client invoice process for Linnflux goes in the following steps. First, at Shape 1, you can see the client reaches out to Linnflux for web development work. In Shape 2, Linnflux will create a proposal for the web development based on the client's wants and needs. Sales tax, service rate, and all included costs are included in the proposal to the client. Service rates are flat and consistent. For Shape 3, Linnflux sends a proposal to the client. In Shape 4, if the client rejects the proposal, then Linnflux makes revisions and changes to the proposal and sends it back to the client for review, again once the changes are made. In Shape 5, this is the revised proposal that the client will take a look at and review, making a decision to accept or reject. In Shape 6, the bill will be divided into the initial down payment and milestone payments. These payments may or may not be of equal amounts based on Linnflux's discretion. In Shape 7, that division will be copied from Google Sheets to QuickBooks for the invoice by assigned payroll Linnflux employee. In Shape 8, the down payment invoice is sent to the client. In Shape 9, the down payment needs to be paid for by the client. If the down payment is made, then the first step of the project is started. If the down payment is not made, then the client invoice process is ended. There are no late fees or sending of bills to collections associated with these invoices. In Shape 10, the first milestone is hit by Linnflux. In Shape 11 and 12, once a milestone or the step of the project has been completed and this milestone has been reached, a milestone invoice is created by multiplying the hours spent on the project times the flat hourly rate of Linnflux. In Shape 13, the milestone invoice is sent to the client. In Shape 14, the milestone payment needs to be paid for by the client. If the payment is made by the client, then Linnflux can continue the project. If the payment is not made, then the invoice will be sent again to the client. In Shape 15, after all invoices have been paid, the final website is uploaded to the World Wide Web and production is complete. In Shape 16, Linnflux can generate automated reports for tax purposes from QuickBooks after the project is completed. Inputs for the as-is process included the hours worked by employees on the project. Inputs also included the paid invoices coming in as revenue. Outputs for the as-is process included the proposal sent to the client, invoice for client's down payment, invoice or invoices for client's milestone payments, and a roadmap with a chronological outline of work to be done throughout the project. It explains what the client should expect to be completed at each step of the milestones. There are 4 processes for the as-is client invoicing system. A creation of proposal by Linnflux to include an overview of the work to be done with pricing. The pricing in the proposal is based off evaluations and estimates of past similar work done by the company. These estimates are formed by taking the number of hours it typically takes to complete this type of job, multiplied by the current hourly rate. Acceptance or rejection of proposal by the client is another process. If the proposal is rejected, the process ends, and if the proposal is accepted, the billing process continues. A third process for the as-is system is down payment invoices sent to client, and the fourth and last as-is process is milestone payment invoices or invoice sent to the client. There are 2 interactions for the as-is client invoicing system. First, a discovery meeting between Linnflux and the client. This helps Linnflux understand the scope of the project. And secondly, a goal meeting. This helps Linnflux gather more in-depth information regarding the project's goals. This goal meeting happens typically in the middle of the project, between milestones. The metrics for the as-is process include the number of working hours Linnflux takes to create invoices for its clients. Manually, this takes very long using the copy-paste function on a computer since conversion must be made from the Google Sheets cloud-based software program to QuickBooks or Square payment software. It costs Linnflux a lot of money to create invoices for the clients based off the above-mentioned working hours. As-is process actors include Linnflux's clients and Linnflux's employees involved in the client invoicing process. Attributes to the as-is process include positive and negative ones. For positive, it allows Linnflux to create a professional-looking invoice with accurate project hours reflected from the Google Sheets tracking. Negative attributes to this as-is process are that it takes a lot of Linnflux employees' time as well as capital and wages paid to invoice clients every month. Creating invoices is a timely and costly process. Bottlenecks to the as-is process include that every time an invoice is created, the employee must copy and paste each amount owed from Google Sheets into Square Payments or QuickBooks. This takes a lot of time, effort, and capital from Linnflux to create these invoices using this process. You may ask, how was the as-is process identified for improvement? Well, there was a problem and we found a solution. The problem was that manually creating invoices cost Linnflux a lot of money. Our solution was to use software automation to streamline client invoice processes, resulting in reduced hours worked on client invoicing by employees and overall in reduced costs. The 2B model consists of designing the new improved process, one that will achieve the goals of the organization more efficiently and effectively. The following slide will demonstrate our 2B model for Linnflux. For the 2B client invoice process of Linnflux, in Step 1A, the client reaches out to Linnflux for web development. In Step 1B, a Linnflux employee creates the Google form template where they will input client data later. In Step 2A, a Linnflux employee will create a proposal for the web development based on the client's wants and needs. Sales tax, service rate, and all included costs are included in the proposal to the client. Service rates are flat and consistent. In Step 2B, a Linnflux employee creates the invoice template on the Google document. Using script automation, the billing information will be outputted into the template. In Step 3A, Linnflux sends a proposal to the client. In Step 3B, we write custom code in the Google script editor to automatically add information from a submitted Google form to a client invoice, or Google document, and billing spreadsheet, or Google Sheet. In step 4, if the client rejects the proposal, then Linnflux can make revisions and changes to the proposal and send it back to the client to review again once the changes are made. In step 5, this is the revised proposal that the client will take a look at and review and will make a decision to accept or reject. In step 6, a Linnflux employee enters the client billing information and submits the data to be processed into the invoice template. In step 7, the Google application script runs and the data from the Google form is transferred to Google Documents and formatted into the invoice template. In step 8, data from the Google form is transferred to a Google Sheet with client billing information included. In step 9, a Linnflux employee prints out the invoice document from the Google Documents. In step 10, the down payment invoice is sent to the client. In step 11, the down payment needs to be paid for by the client. If the down payment is made, then the first step of the project is started. If the down payment is not made, then the client invoice process is ended. There are no late fees or sending of bills to collections associated with these invoices. Again, I will repeat that. In step 12, Linnflux employees work to reach a project milestone detailed before in the proposal. In step 13, we send the milestone invoice to the client. Step 14, the milestone payment needs to be paid for by the client. If the payment is made for by the client, then Linnflux can continue the project. If the payment is not made, then the invoice will be sent again to the client. In step 15, after all invoices have been paid, the final website is uploaded to the World Wide Web and production is complete. In step 16, a billing statement is automatically generated in Google Sheets that Linnflux can then later use for tax purposes. In step 17, Linnflux sends their client a final invoice indicating that the bill is paid and their outstanding balance is 0. The 2B process solution featured a setup and a result. For the setup, the Google software suite must be accessed via cloud and an account must be set up. Also, the Google script editor with JavaScript must be utilized. The result of this was filling out one Google form. This generates a Google Sheet for customer invoice data and a client invoice. 2B benefits include the following. It is cloud-based, so easily accessible to any employee with device and internet connection. Google Software Suite also features an autosave function. This saves much employee time and money. There's minimal training necessary with this since all employees thoroughly understand Google Software Suite already at Linnflux. Here is an image captured from our Google form template during setup. This part of the form will ask the user to enter a valid phone number. If the user does not enter a valid phone number, the response will be invalid and the form will ask the user to please enter a valid phone number. This image captured documents our invoice data entry Google Forms setup, asking for the invoice number. A number must be entered into this field for the response to be valid and is also noted as a required field. To properly automate this invoice process on the Google Suite, a Google Sheet must be opened. Then the user must navigate to Tools, then Script Editor to write the proper JavaScript code to automate this process. Here, after navigating to the Script Editor in the Google Sheet, we see the Google Apps Scripts window appear. Here, we write our custom code which automates the invoice process. It is important to note that at the very top of this code are the unique identifiers that call the proper Google form and Google Sheet for automation. This is our Google Sheet for the invoice data entry, created by simply filling out one Google form. Please notice there are 2 pages of columns with data fields and associated data. Also, each time a new form is filled out, a new row is created. Again, remember that by just filling out one Google form, a Google Sheets data entry ledger is created, as well as an automated invoice. This is the benefit to this business process automation, in that by just entering in data one time on the Google form, 2 additional invoice components are created: the Google Sheet ledger for invoice data entry in the Linnflux client invoice. In the next slide, we will demonstrate the client invoice. Here is our example client invoice created by filling out the Google form with the appropriate client data. Please notice the invoice number at the upper right corner of this Google document, as well as the balance due in the lower right-hand corner. Also, please see the custom Linnflux logo at the upper left-hand corner. All of these features in the invoice were displayed by setting up a template Google Doc and the custom Google Apps Script code. Next, we will cover our implementation, or Phase 6. Equipment needed for implementation includes the following. Linnflux is already in possession of all the equipment needed for implementation. However, more equipment may need to be purchased in the future. The equipment needed for the implementation is computers, hard drives, external or internal, and cloud storage provided by the Google software suite. For implementation, there is various software replacement and installations. Linnflux will be using Google Software Suite in their new invoicing process. Google Software Suite includes the following: Google Form Information, Google Sheets Information, and Google Script Editor, as well as Google Docs. These programs are already available on the Linnflux employees' workstations, and each employee will be issued an official Gmail account formatted as the employee's identification number at gmail.com. Data transferred in the implementation phase includes the following: timestamp, invoice number, invoice date, invoice due date, client first and last name, client contact information, client company name, street address, applied discounts, total price, unit name or job, unit description or job description, and unit price. The time frame and cost for this Tubely implementation is the following. It is a 2-week time period with a week for training employees on the Google Software Suite and a week of testing the automated client invoice system. There's also cost associated here with the labor cost of training employees, the labor cost for employees that implement the new technology, and the labor cost for employees who manage Google Software Suite. The Google Software Suite, however, is free. For timing and location of the implementation phase, the implementation process will occur at the Linnflux headquarters at the below address. The implementation will begin Monday, May 31st, 2021, and is scheduled to end Friday, June 11th, 2021. If an implementation team member tests positive for COVID-19, the implementation process will start Monday, June 14th, 2021, 14 days after the original start date, and end Friday, June 28, 2021. The first week of the implementation process will be used for implementation and training. The second week will be used for training and testing.
Requirements for Linnflux. Training will occur the first and second of implementation of the new invoicing process. We designed a plan to train Linnflux employees while testing the new invoicing process. Linnflux employees will be showed a guide on how to submit the invoicing data and transfer the data to Google Sheets. From there, each employee will receive on-the-job training by inputting the current active invoices into the new invoicing process. By doing this, Linnflux is saving time, money, as well as giving their employees the most effective training possible. The second week will be used to further explain the new invoices process and clear any questions the employees may have. Maintenance and monitoring. Google Software Suite is a third-party software not owned by Linnflux, therefore will be updated without Linnflux's control. Employees in Linnflux will be responsible for keeping the most updated version of Google Software Suite on their workstation. The new invoicing process will be storing Google Excel spreadsheets and good Word documents onto a hard drive. Therefore, Linnflux should invest in buying bigger and more hard drives. factors for implementation. Data integrity of the Google Cloud. Storing things on a hard drive is safer for your client's information and data. Unexpected downtime. If implementation cannot be done on time, planning has been done to push back the implementation for 1 week. Quarantine and health factors. If an employee tests positive for COVID-19 and cannot receive proper training, Zoom appointments are in order to sit down and meet and help train them virtually on the Google Sheets invoicing process.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. Are there any questions?